Well, good evening. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I've been champing at the bit, so let's get stuck in. Idiotic, virtue-signalling, left-wing lovey celebs should publicly apologise for campaigning to get the racist, anti-white, suicide bomb and police murder advocating Egyptian crackpot over to Britain. Alaa Abd el-Fattah was banged up in Egypt, which is exactly where he belongs. Here are some of his social media posts. I'm a racist, I don't like white people. He called British people dogs and monkeys. Talks about the random shooting of white males. I seriously hate white people, he says. Police are not human. They don't have rights. We should just kill them all. He advocated for killing Zionists as well as civilians and said a suicide bombing would be acceptable if it took a few Zionist lives. But a load of thick-as-mint celebrities called for him to come to Britain. Some of them even did stupid little videos, lovingly reading out an essay this random Egyptian bloke wrote from prison. Here is actress Olivia Colman.
Thousands of miserable creatures in Torah prison, waiting for months, years sometimes, for judgments that never come. Will our cases never end, forgotten by the world outside the prison walls?
Here's a load more of these lefty-lovey mugs doing another video about him.
Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Dear Prime Minister Starmer.
Prime Minister, I'm making this video because I, like a lot of people, and I should imagine yourself included, are deeply concerned.
Dear Prime Minister, I'm reaching out to you today because I'm extremely worried.
I am one of many thousands in Britain and all around the world who are deeply concerned about the fate of the writer Alaa Abd el-Fattah.
The brilliant, courageous and inspiring writer who has been unjustly imprisoned in Egypt for far too many years.
You've got Brian Cox there, Bill Nye, Joseph Fiennes. Dame Judi Dench jumped on the bandwagon. She wanted him brought to Britain. There she is. My favourite, though, is actress Emily Watson addressing Sir Keir Starmer.
And I know that you have, in the past, been on the phone on his behalf. But please, now is time to make good on your promise to do everything you can to bring him home. And, well, really, before it's too late, we need to save Layla's life and we need to bring Alaa home. Please do what you can and do it now. Thank you.
Looks like a right mug now, doesn't she? They all do. Bring him home, they say. He doesn't even class himself as British. In his own words, quotes, I am far from British. There you are. Look at that. I am far from British. This bunch of Guardian-reading lefty theatre dwellers have probably been emailed a pre-prepared script by their agents and seen what they think is a poor, persecuted ethnic minority man. They sit around in their multi-million-pound houses, jetting between London, the south of France and Hollywood, swilling Dom Perignon by their fire pit, and take a break from talking about how well little Cynthia and Rupert are getting on at boarding school so they can lecture us about human rights abuses. And it's backfired, hasn't it? Because they've exposed the fact that they know absolutely nothing about anything. Now, I look forward to seeing this. Olivia Colman on Would I Lie to You? True or false, I once called for an anti-Semitic man who said white males should be shot at random to be allowed to live in Britain. Yay, fantastic. What I want to know is this. What consequences will these lefty lovies face? Rylan was basically cancelled for saying that we give too much free stuff to illegal immigrants.
This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel, here's the phones, here's the iPad, here's the NHS in reception of your hotel, here's 3 meals a day, here's a games room in the hotel, have a lovely time and welcome. And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling. Yeah.
Cancelled. Oh, can't have him on again. Piers Morgan left ITV after criticising Meghan Markle. Nigel Farage lost his job at LBC after criticising Black Lives Matter. Graham Linehan lost jobs because he thinks there's only 2 genders. So what happens to this lot of thick thespians for backing a bloke who is now having to apologise for saying he would like to use a drone to kill people at a wedding? I think they should be made to publicly apologise. They should be made to do a video where they read out that guy's tweets about what a racist he is. If there was any justice, they would actually lose work over it. If there's one good thing to come out of this Alaa Abd el-Fattah debacle, It should be that these horrific left-wing celebrities go back in their box and stay there.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just live in credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Let's get our thoughts on my panel. We are currently joined by Christys SLAMS and Benjamin Butterworth, Reform UK Councillor Alderman. Hannah is on her way. Christys, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of these lovely celebrities? Should they apologise? Should they do some kind of public video about it?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to see them giving as much publicity to their regret over all of this as they did to advocating and campaigning. But let's be honest, they're all a bit thick, aren't they? They're probably sort of handed this by an activist or by their publicist, like you said, to read this out because it will make them look good. And no one around them, none of them actually thought, do you know what? I wonder if we should just do a little bit of due diligence and check who this person actually is that we're advocating for. Now, perhaps you can't blame them for that because, frankly, successive governments didn't do that either. But it really does go to show the hypocrisy of some of these people because actually, look at Emma Thompson, of course. She is, on the board and advocates for various charities that want to see fair play and a lack of human rights abuses. Well, I would say that advocating for the murder of white people is bordering on a human rights abuse. Olivia Colman does all this work for Amnesty International as well. Doesn't she advocating for us all to be much kinder to each other and all of this stuff, when in actual fact she's advocating for someone who's been horribly anti-Semitic and is bordering on extremism. So it's too delicious, the hypocrisy around all of this. But of course, nothing will happen, nothing will change, because of course, if you are hypocritical on that side of things, you get away with it. If you're hypocritical on the other side of things, criticising Black Lives Matter or defending Lucy Connolly, well, then you are cancelled. That's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the one good thing to come out of this is no one's ever going to listen to these Hampstead-dwelling, virtue-signalling, woke-karate celebrities ever again about anything, are they? Because they clearly don't know what they're talking about. They just get spoon-fed some tripe and then dish it out to us. It's probably to make themselves feel better about their own privilege.
Well, I can only dream of being a woke-karate that's also Hampstead-dwelling, so I wish to aspire to some of these people. Look, the fact is that if repeated foreign secretaries and senior civil servants hadn't clocked that he had posted these things before that he held these views, then I don't know that you can expect Bill Nighy to be better briefed than William Hague, for example.
But shouldn't he bother, though? See, look, I get what you're saying, absolutely, and this is ultimately a failure of government, don't get me wrong, successive governments, but it's very easy to stand there and jump on, I'm going to sound like the opposite of Keir Starmer here, the latest woke bandwagon. To stand there and say this is, let this poor bloke back into the country. Actually, you don't know anything about him. You don't have a clue about him at all, do you? And they've just exposed that about themselves.
I mean, what's extraordinary is that they didn't figure this out, given that whoever found these tweets found them immediately after he was cleared from prison. So it's quite shocking that that failure happened. But I think the real mistake is him having been given UK citizenship in 2021, because that is what now creates the problem we have. Now, should you remove someone's citizenship because of completely unacceptable tweets, but they haven't been through criminal prosecution? Well, no, because that's a ridiculous way to run a country. But should he be criminally prosecuted? Should the police investigate? Yes, absolutely. And then maybe you have the grounds to do it.
And by the way, just before we came on, I thought I'd do a little quick search on Emma Thompson's statement, Bill Nighy's statement, Olivia Coleman's statement, just to see if they've said anything. Not a word.
No, of course not. But this is the point, isn't it? So to come back, so Rylan was basically cancelled for saying but pretty much absolute fact. In fact, Rylan didn't go far enough about the amount of freebies that we are giving to illegal migrants. You know, in parts of Oxfordshire, they get free driving lessons, for example. There's parts of Croydon, an illegal migrant can learn to become a nightclub DJ, right? So he didn't go far enough there. He just mentioned things like iPads and NHS appointments. That was it. Calls for him to be cancelled forever. But according to this, if you advocate for a racist, questionably murderous individual to come to Britain and stay in Britain, then that's OK if you are a left-wing celebrity.
And you are right to focus on the double standard. I would like to see a situation where if someone says something wrong, then fine, maybe they go through due process, maybe they can apologise and we can move on. So, just like Lucy Connolly, I think it's really important that we are able to do that. And if you are moronic, and you are moronic in your youth, if you show some sort of contrition, that we move on. But the difference is the double standard, that if you do it on one particular side of things, Rylan was just doing his job, by the way. Rylan wasn't giving his own personal opinion. Rylan was saying there is a perception that these are the freebies. Oh my word, you would think that he'd actually gone out and killed a migrant the way in which people reacted to it.
Yeah, so come on. So surely these celebs should do the decent thing and say, look, we got it wrong. We're really sorry. We didn't do our due diligence on this guy, and we apologise massively.
And we need to be more careful in future.
More careful in future, yes.
Well, they probably should. Well, they definitely should be more careful in future. But I don't think you can justify them being responsible for the situation when they didn't have the full facts, and neither did the government itself. And also, it's total exaggeration to say that Rylan Clark, who was literally never off the airwaves, was cancelled.
Well, they called for him to be cancelled. That's what I said.
He wasn't cancelled. He wasn't cancelled. And actually, I think surely it's you calling for cancel culture in this situation by saying that these celebrities should have those consequences. Those celebrities aren't responsible for our borders.
Rylan was wrong to make that point that he made when he was on this morning talking about people worried and people thinking that there is a perception that migrants get lots of freebies.
I don't think he was wrong, because he wasn't actually giving his opinion. He was challenging the guests, which is the role of a presenter. Do you think
the reaction to him was wrong?
Well, I think people are concerned about demonising migrants and making them feel unwelcome in the country.
Do you think the reaction to him was wrong? Do you think those people saying that he was completely wrong and that it was completely barking mad for him to be saying all of this, do you think that reaction was wrong?
Saying that it could be offensive, that you shouldn't demonise migrants is fine. I wouldn't say he should be fired. I'd never say that. Right. He was doing his job as a journalist. But neither should Olivia Coleman.
But this is what they do, right? So we've had them jump on the thing about, free Gaza. Then we've had them constantly...
Were you all right there? I thought you were just clearing your throat.
Yeah, and then we've had them with Extinction Rebellion. Was it Emma Thompson flew business class, wasn't it? On British Airways.
Yes.
And then had a little summer holiday on a diesel-guzzling jet yacht off the coast of somewhere south of France, or Monaco, Italy, wherever, take your pick. Nice, isn't it? So they've done the environment stuff, they've done Gaza, and then now we've got this guy, right? And it turns out they actually know naff all about anything. They just sit there next to a fire pit with little Dom Perignon on the side, don't they? They're going, what worthy cause can we get? And now I've got a theory about why they do that. It's because a load of them are actually really posh, a load of actors are super double posh. But everything given to them, they are essentially Nepo babies, a lot of them. They feel guilty about that privilege. Then their job entails people following them around all day when they're on set, making sure that they get every single thing they want all the time. And some little bit inside them, it gnaws away at them, and they feel a sense of guilt, which is why they have to occasionally pop up and make themselves feel better about themselves by backing a random Egyptian nutter.
Also, knowing that what they are advocating for will not actually affect them in any way, shape or form. So, for instance, if you are advocating for more rights for refugees, right? Yeah. Well, that's great. If you're a genuine refugee, I think everyone would agree that really someone genuine from a war-torn place, fine. But a lot of these people say, look, we should have far, far more sympathy for people who come over on boats. Well, you're not going to be affected by the higher cost of housing that's going to... you're not going to be affected by the infrastructure that's going to end up not being able to be, the lack of NHS places, the lack of doctor's appointments. You have no effect to higher taxes. None of that affects you.
So when the next election comes around, and all of these celebs, I reckon, do a very similar video, but it's about the threat that Nigel Farage poses to Britain, the threat of fascism, the threat of anti-Semitism, because he might have said something to a pupil in 1981, right, when he was at school, OK? When they do that, OK, can we just play these clips to them and go, what you've actually done is call for a bloke who, by the way, can I just say, in the last few minutes, or the last hour or so, this guy who's done the apology, el-Fattah, he's done an apology, in the last few moments, he's gone on Facebook and he's liked a post that says all of this stuff about him is just a Zionist conspiracy theory, right? So they've let this guy in... Random killings of white people, jokes about suicide bombings, taking a drone to a Zionist wedding, just killing people, OK with killing civilians, kill police officers. They've advocated for this guy, so they have lost every single argument going forward, ever, haven't they, about what's good and virtuous in the world? Sure.
No, and actually, I think you said the quiet bit out loud right there. You made it clear that the reason you're attacking these great British public figures is because you don't want people to listen to them when it comes to the election. These people will stand up to the kind of bigotry against immigrants and minorities, and that is why these are incredibly popular, successful British actors, and people listen to them, and you're scared that people will continue to listen to them. That's the truth. Why should they listen to them?
This is my point. Why should you listen to them? What kind of sage wisdom are you getting from Bill Nighy, Olivia Colman, all these people? I mean, Stephen Fry climbed on board with all this as well. Loads of people did. I mean, bless her, Dame Judi Dench. I feel a bit sorry for Dame Judi Dench. She's a national treasure. She's been used by the Free Alaa Brigade.
They had an information deficit that the government itself, it happened, had. But, these people are fantastic actors, they're great success stories, and we should admire them. You are guilty of cancel culture.
None of them came out backing Lucy Connolly.
Yes,
no, because she's a convicted racist.
Or any of these other people.
But this person who has basically sent out those horrific tweets, you wouldn't call them a racist?
Yes, I would.
So you have to be convicted to be a racist?
They're a racist, and I said at the start of the discussion they should be charged with that. They should be pursued.
Why haven't they backtracked and released a statement saying that they are wrong on that? So firstly, and secondly, don't you think that once they've made a massive mistake like this, their credibility when it comes to elections in the future or calling out fascism, perhaps that's shot just a little tiny bit?
No, because if you don't tell the government...
Their credibility is not shot.
I don't rely on Olivia Colman to be briefed better than the Foreign Secretary. It's an absurd argument. And I'm afraid I'm the only person here that makes sense. I think that this person is clearly a racist, this Egyptian-British guy, and so clearly is Lucy Connolly. And the fact is, I don't think either of you would criticise Lucy Connolly, so there's the hypocrisy.
Can I just say on this? I think they should be made to read out his really racist tweets. They should. I think they should sit there. We should see, right, back in the summer garden around Greenwich, you go, Emily Watson, sit around there and just read out his tweets. Stare down the barrel and read
like the essay they did for him. Do it like that.
Do it like that.
Oh,
and
that would be lovely.
You feel about it. Yeah, no, seriously. Then see how you feel about it. I'd be up for watching that. But anyway, a government spokesperson has said Mr. el-Fattah is a British citizen. By the way, more on that later. It has been a long-standing priority under successive governments to work for his release from detention and to see him reunited with his family in the UK. Now, we have approached Alaa Abd el-Fattah and his family for comment, but he released a public statement which said, looking at the tweets now, the ones that were not completely twisted out of their meaning, I do understand how shocking and hurtful they are, and for that, I unequivocally apologise. Right, OK.